Riding around the city with some brand new heat. Brand new car, brand new feet.
Mixtrap.com.
Brand new seats.
Hey, Brittany.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
You always call me Brittany.
I know.
You're the only one, so I don't know where it came from.
I don't know where it came from either,
Your
but
heart.
it's just like a moment. Sometimes I'll make up songs about people and they won't know, or things.
I dream people are making up songs about me in the ether.
I can't. Oh my goodness. There is so much to talk about.
I know, my heart's racing because I'm so happy to be like on Earth right now.
Oh my God. Same.
That's like how I get. I'm like, I do stuff like on camera all the time, but I get so hyped because I'm so happy.
Yes.
It's like the one time I'm at peace, even though my heart's racing.
That's real.
Hashtag Aries.
Hashtag Aries. That's how you know, though, that what you're doing is like meant for you.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
Well, let's introduce our girl. This is Brittany, aka Brittany. Brittany is a poet. She's a writer. She's an influencer. She's a model. She's a host. Mm-hmm. She is that girl. Have I missed anything?
I'm really good at twerking, which people might not think because I'm so tall.
That's crazy. Is there a stigma against tall girlies?
I feel like lanky, there's a stigma.
Oh.
I don't know. We don't have to put that stigma on me unnecessarily.
Now that you're saying that out loud, I don't think I've ever seen a really tall girl twerk.
It's all about belief in yourself.
Okay, period.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Amazing.
But yeah, I'm mostly a writer.
Love that. Brittany, where do we begin? I
don't know.
Well, we went to the same school, but we didn't know each other.
I know why we didn't.
Why didn't we know each other?
I know why. Because at Syracuse, there are two groups of people. The people that blacked out every weekend starting on Thursday and the people that didn't. And you know how many times, obviously I'm in the blackout group. And you know how many times me and the blackout group would be out and we're like, there's probably a whole other world out here at this university that we don't know. But we just see the same people Thursday through Saturday because we are the partiers. And you, my demure angel, you are not.
I, in fact, was not a part of the blackout group. I love that reference, though.
That's why we didn't know each other.
You know what? You're not wrong. But the crazy thing is, so we met at Elite Daily in 2014. Do you think that was?
Yeah, I think it was 14.
Yeah, 2014. We met each other and we found a photo, actually, of us to get in the same photo.
Tell everyone what we're doing in that photo.
But we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't know each other, but there's a photo of us together. What are we doing in the photo, Celine?
I'm leaving. I remember that night specifically. I was like, I'm going home. So
that is so Celine things.
I was leaving the porch.
She was trying to leave.
Of this facility.
Innocent.
And Britt and the girls and the guys were just dancing in the front lawn. I think that's what was happening.
We were strolling through the streets of the neighborhood. Again, blacked out Thursday through Saturday. And we stopped at your house.
That was not my house.
I don't know where we were.
Someone I knew lived there.
One thing about me is I never know where I am.
And that's on period. And that's on period.
We stopped, and what dance were we doing?
Are you doing the Macarena?
We were doing
Oh my gosh. In my mind, I'm like, it can only be one thing.
We were, for some reason, doing the Macarena, and I think that might have been the only dance that we could have gotten you to do. Look at, like, now that I know you, I'm like, I don't think you could, like, resist a flash mob.
Definitely
of
not.
Strangers. Did you know anybody? Did you know Indo?
I did. Yeah. I was friends with them.
Or Jordan.
And I was friends with Jordan, Indo, and I would see them from time to time because they were friends with my friends.
Yeah.
But I was not out like the other girls. You know what I mean?
The other girls.
The other girls as in you and Indo and Jordan. Like
the
girls as a collective. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was definitely in protective mode my junior to senior year. I was really learning how to protect my peace.
I love that. That didn't come to me for 10 more years.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Everybody's journey is different.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's talk about, oh my God, there's so many things. I was looking at this and I'm like, I don't know where to begin in Brittany's journey because there are so many just unique, incredible, and just so many hardships that you've been through. You have so many different chapters to your story, and they're all insane. So like, I don't know, like I literally have goosebumps thinking about it because, well, I suppose it's the way you tell your stories as well, because you're a writer, you're a poet. And I'm just so fascinated by your story, and I want everyone to hear it, and I want it to be loud and clear. So,
oh God.
Oh my goodness.
I need to call my therapist.
I am your therapist.
Okay,
psych. Please tell us what led you to Syracuse University. I want to hear about the journey from your hometown in Texas to Syracuse University.
I'm like, I get so emo because I love Syracuse so much. I know. And I was watching your other podcast with Ray Ray.
Yes, Ray Ray the best.
And she said, I was actually shocked she said this, and I was going into a cold medicine nap as she said this. But she said, period, the more like you love Syracuse, the more it loves you back. And I feel like I love Syracuse so much because it loved me back. And like, I've been in love many times with things, places, people that did not love me back. So I feel like when it happens, it is so euphoric and magical that like it will always warm my heart. But I actually, being from Texas, I'm from San Antonio. Nobody left Texas. So that was like a really weird thing. There was no teacher telling me about New York schools. The way I heard about Syracuse is my older sister left a book home, like during one of her visits. I picked it up, and the back said the author went to Syracuse, and I applied because of that.
That is, you know what? The way that thank you, New York. The way that I find out that Rachel decided to go to her school because she saw a girl wearing sweatpants, and I was like, that's
God.
Girlhood, and that's God.
That is God. That is spirit guides.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It doesn't matter. Like, you got to where you were meant to be.
Yeah.
So
and Syracuse gave me, it was no question that it would be Syracuse. They gave me the most money, aka loved me back. Hello.
They do be doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
They also did love me back in that way.
Yeah, it's insane.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Because it wouldn't have been Syracuse for me if they didn't love me back financially.
I mean, yeah, that would be mean if they you're from there, so that would be insane if they rejected you. But they were probably like, saw my application, they were like, wow, one person in all of the state of Texas is applying, we gotta let her in. No.
Damn.
And then I got into Newhouse, which I had no idea was a good school. I'd never heard of anybody say the word Syracuse. I never heard of it. And then I joined the Facebook groups, and everyone's like, girl, you got a coat? I'm like, actually, I've never owned a coat. Probably this is the thickest thing I ever had to wear in Texas my whole life. So I bought a coat.
What kind of coat was it?
So I didn't know coat brands.
That's okay.
So I showed up in my Land's End
Period.
special.
I'm sorry, but Land's End,
that was the only place to buy coats.
Land's End is
and
very
maternity swimsuits.
Period.
Not that I needed that, but
wait, that's crazy. I didn't even know they made those. Yeah, you know what? I actually categorize Land's End as a Salvation Army brand, a thrift brand, because I find so much of it. This is
the most expensive thing I've ever bought.
But the thing is that the quality is good.
Yeah, I still have my coat, actually.
Good sweaters and coats.
I still have it.
That's all I find of Land's End. Good sweaters and coats.
Yeah, it was a down.
You know.
I bought it with my SeaWorld money. I bought everything to go to Syracuse with my SeaWorld job money, which I wrote about in my essay.
And we will get into that.
Yes. And I literally bought my own one-way ticket, told my parents I was leaving, and fucking left. And never was nervous. I was so ready to start my life. I always say my life started at Syracuse. And I never was homesick a day in my life. I immediately was there, made friends, fit in, had the time of my life. Like, it makes me like, it's so crazy how well it worked out.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, I keep thinking about how you said that you had gone, you flew in and it was nighttime.
Oh my God.
And
yeah, this is good.
You were looking around and you're like, where the fuck am I?
I don't know if if you haven't been to Syracuse, you literally, like, especially at night, I fly in from Texas. I'm thinking New York. I don't know, is it going to be like a Hallmark movie, New England style? I already know it's not going to be like the city, but I just, in my head, I'm like, it's better than Texas, whatever. I fly in the night before. It is desolate. It is gray. It's amber from the lights, the street lights.
Yeah.
It's like that weird yellow. I can see it.
Did you come in the morning or the evening?
I came in at night, and then I stayed the night in a hotel. Who knows where I was. And then I took a cab to the dorms, and I said, I'm Brittany Leitner. I belong here.
Period.
Yeah. And I just thought I made the biggest mistake in my life. Like, this is desolate. Like, I don't have a car. Like,
Sorry,
I'm praying it's walkable, because I've never visited. I didn't know visiting the school before you made a decision was a thing. Until I got there, and everyone knew everything about the school they were attending. I was like, I guess that's what is normal. I was just there for fun. And then once I got to the campus, and I was like, I'm gonna be okay. Like, the campus is so beautiful. It's so walkable, stunning, like amazing. It was fine after I saw it, but I did have a scare.
I mean, rightfully so. Syracuse does have that sometimes where it's just gray.
Yeah.
It's wintry.
And when you're going from the airport to, I don't know, a Holiday Inn Express, like, you're not near the school. I was like, am I going to school in a strip mall? Like, I just didn't know. I mean, I saw the pictures from the pamphlet. That's like all. Mall. Yeah. You can make pictures look real good. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I can imagine that being really, really horrifying.
It was.
You took a lot of risks. But it paid off.
Oh, yeah.
You are my only New York friend who is as ecstatic about Syracuse. I mean, some of my New York friends come to visit, as in you and Jenna.
Well, we also made Jenna. Jenna just had to come with us because we're going. But yes, I think she likes it now, maybe. She
does like it. It's definitely a vibe for her. We all worked at Elite Daily, so that's how we know each other. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was so fun, and it brought me so much joy that you came to visit, and just, you're like, I love it here, and like, you just were gushing about Syracuse, and I'm like, this is so heartwarming. And it's also so sad how many people don't realize how special Syracuse is. It's such a sweet place. It really is.
It is beyond. It's like, it was my first like crash course into New England culture, and you might not like realize this because you've always lived here, but it is night and day from Texas. Like, I mean, it is night and day from anywhere else. It is really so unique, and it's like, oh my God, I get there, everyone's wearing North Faces, Uggs, and Longchamp bags. I'd heard of Uggs.
I am so glad that we are done.
Oh my God.
I mean, we might not be done. The girls are onto something different right now.
I mean, yeah, it's something different and equally as like dumb, but it's always going to be something. But I was just like, I never saw like uniforms like that in Texas. Like,
really?
Yeah. And I would say I'm like, in San Antonio, from like a solidly middle class, I think Texas might be the only place that middle class like really exists anymore, because like one person in the household can make $100,000 and the whole family's like fine. You could have 2 cars and like have a house, but that's probably why they don't vote, because they're not stressed out. But I was stressed out when I was there. But all that to say, we had like Abercrombie and Hollister and like Adidas, but nobody had like a uniform the way the Q's girls had uniforms. And I just remember, I never like thought it was cute, so I wasn't really like jealous, but I was like, whoa, this is weird that everybody's in the same outfit. I've never seen that.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say it was like that in our high schools too.
Yeah.
Everyone was rocking the North Face.
Yeah.
When Uggs came out, the Uggs were Ugging.
Yeah.
And
the Fugs.
The Fugs.
Can Fug today.
We love a Fug, honestly.
We love a Fug.
Love a Fug.
I mean, they don't make the Uggs like they used to anymore anyway, so if you're buying an Ugg right now, you're getting a Fug anyway.
Don't purchase Uggs anymore.
Yeah.
I only buy since 1974. If you know, you know.
I do
It's the actual original Ugg brand.
Oh, from actually Australia?
From actually Australia, and they hand make every single shoe. Oh. And the color selection is outstanding. So
they have Celine colors, like fuchsia.
Exactly. They have all pastels, which is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah, they hand make them, and they are actually the original UGG company.
Okay. Facts.
So, yeah, that's on period.
I'll look into it.
Look into it. The fuck?
I know. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the uniform is crazy. I remember seeing just packs of girls in the long puffer North Face.
And then when we were there,
And they were all black.
When we were there, everyone was in a bikini top. And like
Bikini tops.
Yeah, it was like summer, and I think they had just gone back to school. Remember, we saw like hordes of people walking in like denim cutoffs and like bikini tops.
Yes.
And I was like, they look uncomfortable. Well,
it was kind of a Spring Breakers moment.
Yeah, it was. And I was like, this is interesting. I would have fucking loved to wear that outfit back then. I would have been with them, let me tell you.
You weren't a part of any Greek life, though, right?
Hell's not. Oh my God. I thought that was so stupid. I was like, I came from Texas where I was in dance team, which is literally treated like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. We did these same moves, like jump splits into the 50-yard line, like high kick lines, like everything that they do. I'm like, that's not hard. Like I did that when I was 16. All that to say, that is like a sorority. We had big sis, little sis. We had it was a cult. It was a cult. We had dues. We had matching outfits. And I go to Syracuse. I'm like, why would I ever want to do that again? Yeah. And also, I can make friends without doing this. And I didn't really, I mean, I told myself all of these things, and I do think that that was my truth. But also, there was no option for me to do that. That was what, I don't know, thousands of dollars. Like,
yeah,
when you're a girl, hashtag our only privilege in life is getting into parties. And
is that our only privilege? God damn.
I would say yes.
It's definitely a privilege at Syracuse. It was like if you were female, you were kind of guaranteed to get into
the frat party,
which is just crazy.
I went out Thursday through Saturday without ever a fake ID all 4 years, never missed a day.
Wow.
And so I found a party somewhere that I got into, and I never paid. So
look at that. That is privilege. That's crazy. Wow. Wait, Britt, what did you study? We have not covered this.
Do you honestly not know, like, as my friend?
No, I think I do now, but I need everyone else to know.
I'd be like,
I'm trying to be a journalist.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should recognize this.
I know.
I studied journalism.
Period.
I studied journalism. I did a double major, journalism and English. Yeah.
And what did you want to do with that?
I knew that I wanted to do what I'm doing right now. I knew.
Maddie knew she was a star from a young age.
Yes, the Latina star.
Good.
Literally, I knew. I wanted to be an English major because they didn't have creative writing at Syracuse. And then at the last minute, I saw they had a magazine, and I go, this is my thought process. I love magazines. I read magazines every day. I'll do that. And then it's Newhouse, and Newhouse is like this great school. Had no clue. So I tacked magazine on at the end, and I loved it. If you were to talk to like any of my teachers, they'd be like, I swear this happened. Brittany's the girl that spelled her first and last name wrong on a final once. Like, literally, that was me. Like, I was the worst student ever. I think that they probably all thought I'd be like, I don't know, dancing on tables by now. But I just like Coyote Ugly? Yes.
Okay, hot. That's what I thought. Yeah. Hot only.
Hot.
Okay.
Yeah, in 90s way. In supermodel way. And I was a horrible, horrible student. And I just didn't care about school because for me, Syracuse was the first time I actually lived my true life. I always say that's when my life actually began because my Texas life was so oppressive. And I just was like, I'm here for the parties, the boys, the drugs, the drink. And
Damn.
I literally would be like, but school was so easy to me too. So I would just be like really bad at everything unless it counted. And then I'd write like an amazing magazine art. I just knew how to write magazine articles already because I'd read them every day, like my whole childhood.
I also was obsessed with magazines as well. And in middle school, that is how I figured out I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Love.
And I have a giant collection of Teen Vogue, Vogue, Cosmopolitan, Elle Girl. What else?
House privileges.
I know.
You have places to store that.
I know. My parents are not happy about that for real.
Are they in your Syracuse house right now?
Some of them, most of them are in my house, but I have a full bookcase at my parents' house. And I cannot tell you how many years they've been like, get them out.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Yeah.
But that's archival.
Yeah.
Like, that is history.
Yeah.
That is girlhood history.
That's how we, like, now everybody looks older because they know how to do a full beat, like, in detail. We had, like, one photo of, like, a smoky eye, and I'd be like, okay, what I deduce from this smoky eye is that it's black shadow. So I just,
I remember
it would look crazy
when smoky eye was happening in college.
Yeah.
There was not one person who wasn't doing it. And I remember I had this little CoverGirl palette, and it had the instructions on the back.
And they were still so hard.
It was challenging. And every time I did it, I was like, but it worked.
Yeah.
It was a vibe.
Yeah.
God, did you love the smoky eye?
I mean, I always
You
thought
must have.
I thought it looked a little weird on me. I think it looks better.
Really?
I don't know. Like, what I did was a full eyeliner line.
Yeah, I was
like
going to say, I feel like I can totally see you having upper and lower liner.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, yeah. And that was me. And I basically had the same shape eyebrows that I do now. So if I did that, I look exactly the same. It's like freakish. Except for my teeth grew together straight somehow and my nose got smaller. I believe celebs when they say they haven't gotten plastic surgery because it looks like I had a nose job.
Really?
And that I had braces, but like everything just came together. Thank you, God.
That's actually what Kendall Jenner is going through.
That's
right
what
now.
she says. I'm like, girl, I believe you because it happened to me. You got to like put a pic of me on here or something. It's crazy. Like my nose is huge. My teeth have gap. Like it's a full gap.
Really?
When I got to Syracuse, I had a full gap. It just grew in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Blessed.
Incredible. That's incredible. I don't think my face has changed too much since,
I don't think so either.
Since college.
You always had that little baby face.
I'm like, I think I
didn't know you, so the
better.
pictures that I have to see. Yes. I think that we do look, it's crazy how I'm like, we're hotter.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I was beginning to dabble in makeup my sophomore year. Ever.
Of college?
Of college. Like, when I say makeup, I mean, like, full face, you know? Like,
I'm still shocked.
like, foundation.
I was, like, pretty
concealer.
much full face senior year of high school.
And I was a Clinique girly. I mean, that's because my mom got it for me. She was like, if you want makeup, this is probably...
TBT, the Celine, what do you just say? What's the Clinique counter at the Syracuse bookstore?
It was
in What World?
Yes.
I was like, where am I? What
know.
is this Beverly Hills of colleges?
That's why it was easy too, because
yeah, it's so
I would
crazy.
just get it at the bookstore.
I literally was like, I've never heard of Vera Bradley. They had a whole Vera Bradley wall.
Another, which I do love certain prints now. Now I'm a here and there Vera Bradley girl.
I'll let you say that only because I truly trust your style. But like if some stranger said that, I would be like, that's not my friend.
You know what? You know what? There's this beautiful yellow set that it was the only one that I ever was
set.
Yes, a set.
Oh, like a travel. I was thinking like an outfit, even though they don't make outfits.
Oh no, which is probably fine for now. But they had this one of my friends, Karina, she had this beautiful yellow pastel, and I think it was blue wallet. It was primarily yellow, and she wore that thing to rags, and it was so cute. Looking back at it, I'm like, that was truly a moment. And I was not about Vera Bradley back then, but now, well, I was at an outlet with my friend Seema, and where were we? I think we were, I don't know. We were somewhere near Schenectady, maybe. Where's that place where everyone goes to the horse races?
Yeah. No, it's something else with an S. Is it Schenectady?
No, it's something else.
I know. I've been there, so I know what you're talking about.
Well, anyways, what the fuck is the name of that place?
I don't know. I feel like we'll think of that.
Anyways, when I went into a Vera Bradley outlet, and they had this insane sale, and I was like, you know what? Some of these prints are kind of a vibe.
Do you think it was also just like healing? like, oh, I have like expendable income now, so I can buy this. I mean, let's
kind of, yes, because I love a set, like a luggage set. Yeah. Not that I have many. I think actually the only one that I do have is the Vera Bradley one. Yeah. But they had this giant sale. Everything was like 70% off for whatever reason. Yeah. So I got a huge duffel bag, which I loved, in like pink, obviously. And then I got a matching purse, a matching makeup, like toiletry bag, a wallet.
You didn't get a lanyard?
I got the wallet, which is enough.
The lanyards are so Syracuse.
I know. They really were.
I never, somehow, even though I blacked out Thursday through Saturday, I never lost my keys and my ID.
And thank God.
And it's like insane. I was always like a little aware, I think.
I remember the one time that I lived close enough to Marshall Street was actually when I discovered what it was like to be an alcoholic, because I went out to the bars.
Like, that's enough. That'll do, pig. That'll do.
That's exactly what happened.
And I was like, more.
I'm like, I've had enough of this lifestyle. I don't like what it does to me. I need 10 more
years of this lifestyle. Give me a cigarette.
I can't.
And a bump.
I fucking can't. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh
my God. If I like close my eyes and picture heaven, it is literally making my raggedy BF at the time like do the Wednesday flip night, where you flip the quarter and you call it, and you get the entire free pint of beer. And like, I'm like a demure like girl, so I'm like, you call it. And then like he does, and then I just like black out and I'm like, let's make out. Like that is like heaven to me.
That is heaven.
Yeah.
To you.
To me.
To you.
I just like love a makeout. Even to this day in New York, I love a street makeout.
Honestly,
it just makes me feel like I'm living my life.
There was a long period of time. I can't believe I'm revealing this, but we're being really honest right now. We're being honest. I definitely went through a phase where I was just making out with people.
Yeah. It's
like
the best.
It really was a moment where it was freeing, but then it became dangerous in the way that it was like...
The way things are always dangerous for women?
That's crazy. I was like, this needs to stop.
You liked it too much, perhaps?
No, that's not what happened, unfortunately. It just was like, I don't know. Well, in my mind, I'm like, you don't know who has what. Not that it was going further than making out, but, well, at the time, it was like, YOLO, oh my God, I'm free, I'm in college.
Like pretty, a doctor hat. You are like pretty protected from a makeout. I sound like a literal freak if they don't have anything visible on their face.
Yeah, but like sometimes you don't know.
I mean, you're not protected from strep throat. That's
what I'm saying. Sure. But also like, please, there's some, just I think energetically, I was coming into this place where I was realizing how potent energy was and how much I was being drained all the time when I went out.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I was studying communication. So I was learning so much about myself and about other people and the way that I was being perceived and the way that it made me feel, which was not great.
Wise above her years.
And I stayed indoors for 2 years. That's when the moment actually in that photo when I was like, I'm leaving. You were that had to have been either No, I definitely, no shade. There's no chance that I stayed for the Met right now. I may have like walked it in the picture. I may have walked through. I feel like you're like this. I feel like I must have been. In my mind, I'm at the door saying goodbye to someone,
begging to be free.
I can't fully remember what the picture looks like, but when I put the picture up here, I am so certain that I am like coming down the stairs like I've had enough.
I'm in a $12.99 romper, red lipstick, being like, I've never been more alive.
I can't.
Well, for me, Syracuse was the first time I could like be a kid, I think. I was such a parentified child in Texas. I was like parenting my parents. So I got to Syracuse and I was like, this is a time they're like, when you go to college, that's not going to be allowed. You're going to have to grow up. And I'm like literally sleeping through tests, just emailing the teacher, like, hey, and he was like, yeah, come in and take it. Like, there were no consequences. Like, it was not how people said it was going to be. So I was just like, this is the first time in my life that I can make mistakes.
Yeah.
And like, I have the institution of this insanely rich university to back me up. And so I'm gonna like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get into trouble and do all this crazy shit. But I never actually got into like trouble. Like,
I mean, in my mind, how much trouble, like what?
So what I mean by that is if you are on financial aid, federal financial aid, and you get caught in a room with weed or something illegal, all your financial aid gets taken away.
Right. Because at the time we were hiding. We were in hiding when we were smoking
someone
weed.
came.
Did you smoke weed?
I wasn't really into weed because it makes me very sleepy and I was very energetic. I needed to be out. But like,
you were an upper girl, not a downer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously I was
downer.
around all of it. And I remember like DPS, the Syracuse police, came in and they crashed one of the parties that I was at. And they were like asking me, like, they were like, okay, so we have to write everybody up. And, I worked at the Office of Student Affairs, so I knew what happens when you got written up. You have to do, like, mandatory classes. You have to check in. If you're get caught with weed or something, your financial aid is gone. So the police comes in, and they say, what's your name? I was like, Sarah. And they were like, well, where's your ID? I was like, I don't have it. I took it on a bus. I got here on a bus from Binghamton. I, like, don't go to this school. And I didn't bring an ID because I don't drive. And they were like, are you 21? I was like, yeah. And I just kept saying it over and over and over confidently, and they let me go.
Wow.
I know.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking about the time where DPS showed up and I actually leapt out of a window. Like,
see, that could have worked too.
We were so afraid of DPS.
Yeah. Well, this was like in a dorm room, so it was like extra, you're trapped.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like, I was just like I was like, nothing is going to take away this freedom that I finally have. But I think I really did have no fear because I was like, I have to be here. So I just was like, I'm going to just lie to them. And what are they going to do? Like, I'm going to tell, I don't have an ID on me. You can't pull one out from nothing. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. Goodbye. And I just left and all my friends got written up. I was like, follow my lead?
Question mark?
Hello?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Being in the dorms was fun. It was fun.
So
I
fun.
mean, where did you live?
I was cursed.
Oh,
see,
me too, low-key.
Aren't all perfect. I lived in the all-girls dorm. That was a house. The reclaimed
That was when
house.
God was trying to keep you right.
Yeah, he was literally like, we're going to give you the world, but we're going to take this
With
one
limits.
thing, with one little limit. And it made the girls in that house feral. We did not know any men. Or like, unless it was like somebody that we latched onto in our classes. I was so jealous of the girls who like would go to breakfast with like guys. I was like, here I am with my 28 gal pals, like living in this house. It made us feral. We were nuts. I think, like, as a direct result of being all girls.
What was do you remember the name of that?
Butterfield.
Butterfield.
It's in my, like,
Where
soul.
is that?
It's on Comstock, right next to, I can't remember the name of the frat, but the white frat house. It's, like, white painted.
Wait.
Right on the corner across from Ernie Davis.
Wait.
So it's Ernie Davis.
Davis. or wait, Sayu was like
it was something with a C?
A C?
I could be wrong.
Was it a fraternity? Like not an educational one?
It was a grimy fraternity.
Wait, there was Phi Psi?
Yeah.
Phi Psi?
Phi Psi, and then the dark brick building to the right, that was Butterfield. And now it's, I think, back to being a sorority house. Yeah, that's where I lived.
All the years?
No.
Where did
Just
you?
freshman year. And then sophomore year, where did I live? Why can't I? Oh, I lived in Watson.
Okay. Watson was a vibe.
Watson was like that's where everyone wanted to live. That was like because you still have to live in dorm. We are so opposite.
Yeah.
I did not understand anybody who'd want their own kitchen to be at South Campus.
Yeah.
I loved having my meals taken care of. I loved the dining hall food. I loved it. I loved eating pizza and Sal's wings, and I discovered what baked ziti is, what hummus is. I never heard of these things in Texas. I loved the food, and everyone's like, I don't know. I was like, this is the best food. Like, I have 18 options.
Yeah.
I was so
when
happy.
you first get there, too, I will say, excuse me, the experience is heightened for sure. I loved the dining hall too. I was all about it.
Did you ever go blackout?
No, Brittany, not once. Not once.
So fun. Me and my friends would do that. Or we'd be like, okay, like, is this like, let's black out and go to the dining hall. Like, and that was
Were you guys drinking Four Locos?
Probably, yes. Yeah. And like $12 handles of vodka. Yeah. And then we would also eat dinner at 5 so that we would have empty stomachs so that we could black out.
That's crazy.
On less,
That's crazy that you guys were planning.
We did. That was all my friends were like that. Yeah.
You want to know what I've realized? I don't know. I think about my experience at Syracuse, and I was lucky to say that my sister went there before I did. And she kind of guided me through the whole experience.
And then there was a wild hog released.
Oh, what? I'm sorry, what? I
am the wild hog.
Oh, I'm like...
And then there were kids like me who were released from the gates and stampeded through.
I cannot. I'm lucky that my sister was in a sorority. So when I was still in high school, I was going and hanging out with my sister and going to all of her sorority events, which was like not allowed, but it was allowed for me. Yeah. Can't really say.
They're not carding. Nobody card. Like, we all looked like infants at 18. If you were 16, you looked the same as you did at 18.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah. And she was an RA. And when she was an RA, I was at OCC. But it was my freshman year, and all of the kids on her floor were also freshmen. Mm-hmm. So I made friends with all of her floor. Oh. And it's funny because I was talking about, this is actually embarrassing, but I'm going to talk about it because we're here.
I've said a lot of embarrassing things.
Because I'm trying to get on your level. Mm-hmm, no. My sister, there was this guy who...
Loved you.
There was one who was into me, and then there was one that I was into. Two different people. But I brought my sister was like, oh my gosh, you should meet this guy. He's really cute, and I'm so excited. And
let me guess, he's 5'7". He's
how dare you?
Celine's type.
That is not my type.
He looks like you cross your eyes, and if you're drunk, that's your type.
No. Okay. He is not my type. That is not my type.
That's your type.
That is not my type.
Every man you've ever liked.
No, that is not true. I swear. I date one person and everyone is like, that's your type.
They're all, I can think of 3 right now that I've seen photos of. They all look the same.
Who? Name them right now.
Name them.
Name them.
I can't name them because then they get joy from.
It'll be off record. I need. Okay.
Looks just like the other small guy from. What's it? They both look the same. They're 5'7".
No, they don't. They do not look the same at all.
Some might say they do.
Anyways. I can't even tell my story. I can't even.
I'm so sorry. I commandeered it by trolling you.
It's not worth mention anyways. The point of why I was bringing it up is because I realized that all of my friends, the girls who I had become friends with, who they were nice to me for most of the time, and then they just weren't. But I think that's because I was not on their page and maybe they didn't like it. To be honest, it's kind of a blur. But once I started to establish boundaries with myself was when a lot of my friends were falling off, which is fine because they all wanted to go out. But these girls that I was with, it was like the whole motivation of everything was to have sex. It was like,
I was not that kind of partier, actually. Everyone thought I was because I was out Thursday through Saturday.
Period. I was not. You were just out for a good time.
Yeah, like
with yourself.
I was actually a virgin for a long time.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that I wasn't into that either. And I was like, hopefully I'll meet someone and it'll be a vibe, but it was never like sex is what I'm looking for.
But interesting.
It was so, and we had the greatest time. Like we had so much fun together going out, But I feel like the moment that I was like, I need to take a step back, and it's not even like, I don't remember saying anything. I just think I was like, I think I'm going to stay in, or I'm going to like
you had a
just
Celine feeling.
I was having Celine feelings. And after that, all of a sudden it was like the flip of a switch. They like didn't give a fuck about me. Like, which
I think that just happens.
It's
like I had that
girlhood
happen
as
in
well.
college too.
Yeah.
Where like all of my best friends that were like, we're going to be each other's bridesmaids, like freshman year, like soulmates, did not talk to them by the end of the year. And I think it's just like, you're changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it used to make me feel really bad. But then like I hear so many people that have the same story.
Yeah. There was like one of the girls I continued to hang out with, and she was really nice to me. And I'll never forget, I went to go hang out with her, and at the time she was living with all of those girls that I used to be friends with. And they would always have like their sorority friends over or whatever. And I went over there. They were all sitting on the porch. And I walk up and I was like, oh, hey, how are you guys? And they all just like looked at me like I was
Heathers.
It was the Heathers. They looked at me like I was a piece of dirt. And at the time I was actually so like, I don't care because I've established my boundaries, and like you being upset at me for whatever reason, like I just didn't care about it. Like I was like, I don't care. I'm here to hang out with my friend. I'm not going to give in to the drama of it all.
Yeah.
So
I was the drama.
Oh.
I was the friend that they were like, she's too dramatic.
I can't.
The opposite of Celine problems.
I can't.
But similar.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I mean, we all go through it. And my friend at the time, she was like, I cannot believe the way that they treated you just now. I cannot believe the way. And I was so like, I didn't care. Like, I was like, I'm not taking that in.
That's not a lot of people can do that at that age.
Yeah.
Or now, or ever.
I was going through a real spiritual awakening. That was like the first chapter of it all.
Sometimes it's like when someone else sees you being mistreated, then you realize for the first time, oh, I'm mistreated. And like friends can do that, but it's really hard to kind of feel things for yourself as they're happening.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Yeah. I think I was also really numb from the way I was being treated. You know,
how long did it go on?
Well, it was from the girls, but it was also from the guys that I was involved with too. I look back and I'm like, I can't believe how poorly. First of all, I'll wrap this up, but I had a really rude awakening at Syracuse into the way that I was treated by men, and I allowed the treatment to happen. And I don't want to say there's a lot that I regret, because it was all a learning process, but looking back at it, it is so jarring to me, the way that I was treated and how normal it became. It's just like disgusting. And majority by the men, but
of course.
Some of the girls too. And I could not be more grateful that I am beyond that phase.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting. Anyways, I want to talk about the award that you won. It's a passage out of your memoir that you are writing.
It's like a memoir excerpt kind of formulated to fit an essay format, if that makes sense.
Sort of.
Yeah. It's like, well, it was for like a contest, an award, and you had to like, I maneuvered it from memoir to what they wanted.
Oh, okay.
AKA
okay.
talent.
Period. That story about how you disassociated in the whale costume.
Yeah.
Can you remind me the title of it?
Yes. It's
along those lines.
It's like a personal memoir essay called Disassociating in a Whale Costume Under the Texas Sun, published by Dirt, which is like a really cool feminist media site.
Love that.
Yeah.
Please tell us about that. There is so much to unpack.
Yeah.
When I read that, I was shaken to my core, because I am very afraid of whales, especially killer whales. I had a really horrifying experience.
IRL or in dreamland?
Yes, I like can't even think about it. Sometimes it like really just
Where
shakes
did you come across one?
At Marineland.
Is that in Florida?
I think we were in Ontario.
Okay.
When I was young. But long story short, I had to have been maybe like, honestly, probably first grade, and which is way too young to be seeing a crazy thing like that.
Think?
I'm sorry. I'm
did it kill someone in front of you?
No. Which is the experience itself, I think, was unique, possibly amongst others, but it did remind me of your experience because when my mom and my cousin took me and my other cousin and my sister and my brother to Marineland, and we were waiting for the whale to come out. There was like the giant. I really have trouble talking about it because I can feel it. Too.
I'm scarred from my
so scary.
Yeah.
And that giant tank, I had nightmares about for years.
Did anything crazy happen, or you just didn't like it? Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to.
Okay. So basically, what happened was we were waiting for the whale to come out, and a bunch of us were kind of waiting like really close at the bottom.
This glass, seats. I can see it.
It's so scary. And the whale came out and splashed us, like came up and splashed us. And when I saw the whale, I was so overcome. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to die. Like, it was so horrifying.
Because they're massive. Bigger than you can even imagine.
I really need to take a breath when I'm talking about this because it's
I really get it.
So horrifying.
Yeah.
And I cried and I was so scared before the show even started, and I ran to the top of the seating.
I feel like I say that exact thing in my piece. I'm like, once you're afraid, it's like over.
I had nightmares for years of my life, and sometimes still.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, besides the fact that I think I may have, oh, wait, you were there for this realization, but I think I died like in the ocean from a past life. But anyways, it was parallel to your story and about the fear, the feeling, the emotion that was coming from the whales in your experience. And I want everyone to hear more about what your experience was like at SeaWorld and why you were there to begin with.
Yeah, I think SeaWorld's such a divisive topic, which is why I was so interested in exploring it for this piece, because all of my writing is like kind of creepy. Like my poems are very creepy, and like I like to like flip things on their head and like talk. Like I have a poem about a Harry and David gift basket that you get when someone dies, and I make it like sexual, like the person getting it is like making it really sexy, and it's like, so what is this deranged person who just like lost someone in their life, like what are they going through that they're like making this a whole other thing? And it's like basically playing with the idea of that would be a person disassociating, right? If you're like making something tragic sexy and glamorized. So that's kind of like how I'm always writing. So for the SeaWorld piece, which is not a poem, my first like nonfiction like published thing, it was like about post Blackfish, the documentary. Some people don't know. I was like out with this guy the other night. He's like, I've never heard of Blackfish.
I tried to watch it.
I know.
Which was brave and a mistake at the same time.
I've watched it like this. I watched it once, like just for like my research. But so basically, like I worked at SeaWorld in high school as a singer in San Antonio. Nobody also knows that there's SeaWorld in San Antonio. That's also the first thing everyone asked me. I worked at SeaWorld as a singer and as a costume character. So I was in entertainment. I was 16, 17, 18, which meant I made above minimum wage. I made $10.25 an hour as a singer. Minimum wage in Texas was $6.50. To this day, it is $6.75. And that was 15 years ago. Yeah. So I'm like saying all this stuff in the piece, kind of setting it up to be like, what? Like, that's dark. And then I'm like, then I get this job at SeaWorld and they give me $10.25 an hour. Rich. I'm rich. They pay for my uniforms. My first job, I got paid $6.50 an hour and I had to buy my uniform. Like, that's so absurd and disgusting. And so I was like, wow, SeaWorld is the greatest place ever. I'm like, I'm not thinking, though in my mind, this is before Blackfish, in my mind, the whales have always been there. I'm a Texas kid. I'm a kid plus a Texas kid, which means
what does that mean?
It means that your brain's not formed. You're not thinking about like the scheme of what SeaWorld means. But I'm also a Texas kid, which means F animals. I love meat and steak and like guns. Like literally, that's how it is there. And so I was not thinking about animals. So basically, I set up this whole story to be like, okay, I'm making so much money, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is so amazing. And I'm using this money to get out of my family home situation, which is so unstable. I have this mentally abusive dad who is like untreated by undiagnosed bipolar, like crazy to me, like just mean every day. So I'm like, I want to be at SeaWorld to get away from him. Mm-hmm. And then I also like am using all of my $10.25 an hour SeaWorld money to secretly pocket it so that my parents don't know and plan my escape to Syracuse, basically, and to New York. Before I even knew I was going to Syracuse, I was like, I'm leaving. So my parents were just very unstable and just in and out of homelessness, which meant I was in and out of homelessness. And so I go to this place, it's stable, I'm making so much secret money so that my future is unfolding before my eyes, that I can go to Syracuse. I remember, I'll never forget, it was $400 to submit your first secured payment to Syracuse. I'll never forget writing that check from my SeaWorld money. Bought my lens and coat from my SeaWorld money. Bought my computer, my one-way ticket, the list goes on. But so I'm setting this piece up like, oh, this is like really dark. Texas is still only $6.75 an hour minimum wage. And I am like able to escape all of my home life by being at this theme park, this place that people save up forever to go to. Like, and it's also the one place, as you know, a woman, that I'm not getting hit on and creeped on, and men at my other jobs would like follow me. They'd like, I was 16. They'd be like, I'll come back and wait for you to come out and like take you home. Like while I'm just like a cashier, like, okay, like it's SeaWorld. I got to hide in a whale costume. Since I'm 5'9", me and all the men were in the whale costumes. The girls got to be the dolphin. Story of my life. And men are on their best behavior because they're with their wives and kids, so they're not hitting on me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had lifeguard friends that worked there that they were like, I was hit on, but like, so it's not everybody, but lifeguards at SeaWorld, everyone at the high school worked at SeaWorld. But for me, I was not hit on because I was like front facing. I was a singer. I was on a stage. Mm-hmm. And if I wasn't on a stage, I was in a huge whale costume. Mm-hmm. So I got to disassociate. I could like pretend whatever was going on in my life wasn't going on. I was this character. I was singing. I was talking to people all day. I felt safe, like inside the gates of the park. The men are on their best behavior. Like that, all of that allowed me to disassociate. But the way that SeaWorld took care of their employees at a basic human level, like changed my life and helped me get ahead. But then I still talk about the crux of what SeaWorld is known as today, which is these whales are in captivity. This has like been long a protest thing since the parks have been protested. And that is not lost on me now. It was lost on me then, but this weird thing happened while I worked there that I started having nightmares. That I was thrown into a black water. It was all like black, murky water. I was thrown into a tank by men. It's always by men. Oh. It's not all men, but it's always a man. And they would throw me into this tank in my dream, and I couldn't see where the whale was, and then it would just like come up to me. And I started having these recurring dreams while I worked there. And so in the story, I feel like I reflect on how I think that was like my way of like deep-seatedly knowing something was effed up there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like maybe that was you're like a spiritual, like clairvoyant human, and you probably were like, why is this majestical creature here? it's scary because like this is wrong. Like that could be part of why you were so scared. And that's like why I think I started having those dreams, to the point where I couldn't see the whale show. My mom says when I was little, I would run up to the glass so happy and carefree Aries. And then while I worked there, I developed this fear to where I couldn't see them at all. I couldn't see the show. My friend wanted to go on our day off, and I was like, surely I'm fine. Like, I'm also the type of person that's like, I'm dramatic in like a fun way, but I'm not gonna be like, we can't go see it because I'm scared. I'm like, there's no way I'm actually scared. Like, that was my mentality. So I go to watch it with her, and just like you described, the misty tank Shamu comes up vertically and flops down. I take off running. It was just so scary. And to this day, I like still have the dreams. I still have I have a lot of SeaWorld dreams, and I am so afraid of whales. And I had to watch Blackfish like with one eye. And obviously, the whales should have never been there. They should have never been taken out of like the natural habitat and dropped in there. It was the 80s that this happened in San Antonio. It was the 80s. I'm sure it was earlier for like the Florida parks, but that it should have never happened. Obviously, humans should never be in the tank with the whales. The whales, like, there's so much documentation of them ramming their heads into the wall, getting cuts because they're like depressed. And there's violent, they're not going to go spend the money and the news, the social media outcry to go capture another whale. So they're breeding the same, depressed, mentally ill whales. And that's like, and in Blackfish, they're like, the number one rule of zoology is you don't breed the like depressed animal. And like SeaWorld was doing that. And like, and it led to horrifically the death of a trainer. So it's like, obviously this is a bad thing, but I do think like as an artist, as like a writer, it's kind of like my goal and my like reasoning for what I do is to get people to like think of something in a new way. So it's like I end the piece being like, oh, I had this friend that's like, well, you never would have worked there if you knew now what you know about Blackfish. And I'm like, yeah, but like, am I gonna like be homeless forever? Would I would have like gotten married to my high school boyfriend maybe like at 18 and been in Texas right now? Like, SeaWorld saved me, but like I think two things can be true obviously at once, that SeaWorld made a horrible mistake and profited off of this horrible thing, and it also somehow siphoned me out of homelessness. And it's like, it's such a crazy tale. And I was talking with this Money with Katie. She's like a big financial blog, and she posted my story, and like, so her readers started reaching out to me about it. And I actually ended up talking to her, and she was like, what amount of privilege do you have to be able to be against SeaWorld? And it's like, what the capitalist society that we live in, like, makes us police ourselves and cancels people, but there's no, like, who has to have the good enough safe life to say no to a job like that? Like at the time it wasn't me. So it's like, it's just, I love things like that where you're just, I don't think that the piece is like comes to a conclusion, and I don't want to be the face of animal rights or anti-animal rights. That's not I'm like interested in human stories. I think there's room for other people to talk about animals, but it's a really interesting conundrum. Like, what would you do? Yeah. I don't know.
You know, it just makes me think, whenever I start thinking about the problems that I have, or, you know, the situations that we all inevitably run into, I think about how my existence is literally a moment in time, a speck of dust, that I matter and I also really don't matter. And it's tough because we're still in the matrix of it all. We're still here playing Monopoly and Legos and just trying to...
And we have to rely, in this capitalist society, we have to rely on ourselves and put ourselves first, because the government is not supporting the citizens. And it's kind of forcing us to make these like immoral choices. And how far do you go if you're desperate, you know? Like there's such a conversation about poor people being criminals. It's like, if your child is screaming, crying, and you can't feed them, I would steal for them. Like, that makes me a criminal that's like worthy of like being deported or being in jail for the rest of my life. Like, I think that it's like everyone needs to get off their moral high ground and kind of just think about another perspective. And that's why like reading and writing is so important. And that's why they're banning reading and writing. So I digress.
I'm just trying to survive the Matrix. Like,
I know.
We're fucking cooked.
It's,
you know, and just the other day I was thinking to myself, is chivalry dead? Chivalry is not dead. It does exist, but it's cooked. It's crispy and rare. Crispy and rare.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's first take a brief moment to discuss Elite Daily. Because I feel like it would be not right if we didn't talk about how we met.
How our souls align. I mean, our souls were predestined to meet from that photo.
I agree.
Of us doing the Macarena.
I agree.
But the guides were like, Celine's not a partier, Brittany. You're going to have to wait. And I said, I'll wait for this majestic princess, and in due time, she will come to me.
It's so funny to think about how you're like, I can't believe me, an Aries, who is like a wild lady, is friends with soft Celine.
Capricorn
soft
queen.
Capricorn Celine queen.
I know, but like, I love you. Like, I just love people that are themselves, that are truly unique. And I think that's why it's so hard to find a man, because men aren't that unique. Like, I mean, people in general aren't that unique. And it's like, so I've somehow managed to find like all my girlfriends in my life that are really unique, special individuals. They are who they are. They're not following trends. It's harder, I think, to find that in the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Don't come for me. This is just a fun opinion for entertainment purposes only. So you can I have to say that because like people on the internet are wild, but
I know.
It's just like, I love people like you that are like, Celine things. Like, you're just Celine.
I'm just Celine.
She's Celine.
But like, you're also just Brittany.
I'm Brittany.
And yeah, we had fun at Elite. I don't know, so much shifted over the course of 2 years, and I got there after you.
Yeah.
You had been there a minute, but it was still...
The way I got there is also very spiritually guided. Like the Syracuse book.
Honestly, same.
Yeah.
And it was all in one text message for me. But I feel it was very different for many. Where do we begin? The thing is that these guys started this startup.
Yeah.
And I think they were under the impression that it would be a really incredible idea to hire a lot of attractive women. To meet them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Which led to...
They were outwardly public about that, actually.
Oh?
They said that all the time. Like,
we
only hire...
I must have blacked that out.
Yeah, you did.
Like, emotionally.
Yeah.
Not like physically.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and that ended up becoming... Elite Daily ended up becoming more of a women's website because I don't think they were
running it.
They thought
they didn't think that far ahead.
Think that through.
Just like a man. Yeah, they didn't think it through, and and we took over.
We did.
That's why they're afraid of us taking over now. That's why they're silencing us.
Honestly, but it was popping for a while when it was the early days before we got acquired by Daily Mail.
I always forget about Daily Mail because that seems like such a blip. Because nothing changed when Daily Mail came in, but when Bustle bought Elite Daily, everything changed.
Yeah.
And so I don't really recall Daily Mail, but you were already gone by the Bustle.
Yeah, I think I was.
Yeah.
But you know what? That experience of meeting you and Joanna and
Jenna,
just Kayla, some of my closest
another
friends.
uniquely, freakishly incredible. I always say this when I see her. I'm like, you are so special.
She is so special.
She's so special. She's so cool.
She's so cool. Her brain is so cool.
Yes.
The way that she's started to post a lot more on her. She has another Instagram page now where she just posts her things, and I'm like, you don't even know how cool you are.
I know. She's the coolest person ever.
Yeah. She's a big
that's like
thinker.
it was so special. I would not have any friends if I didn't work there. And so Kayla was the HR, and
which is crazy.
Yeah, and I had just gotten fired from my first job ever.
Really?
Yeah. My dad died. I was 22. Wow. I was hooking up with people in the office. Like, I was a mess. My dad died, who was abusive. So like my ex-boyfriend from high school flew me home to see my dad because I couldn't afford it. Like, and then he wanted to get married.
Oh, and is that what? Oh, okay.
So think about like the chaos in the 22-year-old's brain with all of that happening. I couldn't work. I got fired. So I don't blame them, honestly.
The 20s alone are just like expectedly terror.
Yes.
So
my last name, Leitner, Kayla, the HR hiring person for Elite Daily, her mom's maiden name is Leitner.
Really?
And that's why she picked me to work there.
That's real.
God.
And that is how people got hired at Elite Daily, because
random. And then you come in and the guys are like, yeah, she'll do. She's hot enough.
I actually got hired, and Joanna tells me.
Is that the other privilege that women have, parties at Syracuse and getting hired at Elite Daily?
Sometimes, I guess. I will never forget, Joanna always talks about how... Like, okay, first of all, I was in acting school and I was finishing up, and I had gotten invited to the 2-year program, which I really wanted to do. Like, I was
like in New York City, a program?
Yeah, I was fully spiritually awakened. Like, I was on my path, but I also had no money. And my mom was like, well, she was like, if you want to stay, like, you need to get a job. And at that point I was nannying for maybe a year.
I feel like you're such a good nanny, probably, because
we had the best time. That's why I love Uptown Girls, because it reminds me of my time here nannying. It was like completely parallel. But anyways,
and you are Brittany Murphy in that movie. When I think of you, I think of that and Josie and the Pussycats. I digress.
Oh, wait.
That's why
I'm honored.
My juicy tracksuit for you.
Period. Yes. I love it. I remember being like, how am I going to get a job? I've been applying the whole year that I've been here.
Yeah, it's
hard. You have
to know someone. You
have
to.
Well, speaking of,
or you have to have their mother's last name.
Period. Speaking of, I knew one person, but it didn't fully click to me. And I got a text message from this guy, Serge, who I met through a friend at SU.
Yes, and everyone thought that that's how I got hired, but I didn't know Serge at all.
That's so funny, because I also didn't know Serge, like, when I went there. I think when I was a senior, one of my good friends from home was dating Serge's older brother. And she was like, do you know Serge? I feel like you guys should meet up. Like, I feel like you guys would get along. He was in ZBT. Sorry, Serge, we are outing you right now. He was in ZBT, and I was like...
Also shocked I didn't know him because he was a partier.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Yeah, and I was not there.
ZBT didn't have a good reputation. We won't get into it, but... it famously at school didn't have a good reputation. Serge is exempt. He's a great guy, but the frat did not have a good reputation. So I think that's why I was never there.
Yes. Well, also, I just have a very vivid memory of what it's like inside of ZBT. And
dark and terrifying.
Dark, terrifying, disgusting, cold. And I just, like, it's still to this day, it is the one frat in my mind that lives rent-free.
Where it had a bad reputation.
I cannot believe people exist. It pay to exist in this space.
Yeah.
It was very alarming. But anyways, met up with Serge, like, I feel like we got coffee or something. It was really chill. But I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't see him for like years. And then all of a sudden I get a text message from him, and he was like, hey, Celine, like, we're looking for someone to fill this photo editor job. Like, do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, I need a job bad.
I love, that's what keeps me alive. Like, I love things like that.
So Joanna always talks about how I came in on my first day, and she's like, I will never forget, you are wearing a pencil skirt with a blazer and a white button down top. Like, I was ready for an interview. Also, apparently, what we were wearing to the club.
So it was a twofer outfit.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was ready for my interview. I'm a professional. I'm a Capricorn.
The interview was this.
The interview literally was Johnny sat me down and he was like, okay, have you ever seen The Wolf of Wall Street? And I was like,
oh no, that is an insane. I did not come in through that way. I had Kayla, thank God.
Like, they obviously just like had the interview for shits and giggles because they didn't do interviews. Yeah. They don't hire by resume. But they hire by vibes.
They hired all my best friends, the people that I'm obsessed with.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like they did do something right.
They did one thing right, but they didn't know it.
But it was not the thing they were going for. They were not going for like spiritually inclined women who loved themselves. They definitely were not going for girls that
That's what they got. That's what they got. And we really made out because I feel like we made friends for life.
Friends for life.
And you guys are
And I still write for Ellie Daily. I still edit for them, like guest edit for them.
I feel like you are the longest lasting employee, which is
Steve.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I almost
Steve's
forgot
an
about
actual
him.
employee, but yeah.
He works at the HQ?
Yeah.
Do they have an HQ?
Yeah, he works for BDG.
God bless. Yeah. And on that note, let's turn to the deck of character.
Why don't you explain what this is?
The deck of character is a game that you can play with others or yourself. It is split between...
I'd be like, it is a tarot deck.
It is a mix between tarot...
It's a casual game, non-denominational, okay? You do not have to be in witchcraft.
Why don't you explain, Britt? Take it over, because I explain every episode. Go ahead. Go.
I'm like, you're doing it wrong.
You do it.
It's a tarot deck, but it's unique in that it has tools, people, and things.
Places, and characters. Exactly.
We need each other, babe. We need each other.
You got it.
But it's essentially a tarot deck, but it's like poop.
Is that your card that you're pulling right now?
No, I was trying to pull a card to show the audience.
Okay.
But that's not, I don't claim the poop card. So
I'm okay. Well, you better
Anywho,
mix it up. Anyways,
ASMR.
Everyone can learn something new every day. Yes. Yes, ASMR.
ASMR. So are you going to read me?
No, you're...
No, I can't. I get stressed. I feel like I'm not good.
Okay, well, I'll pull for you.
Well, I could... Yeah, you just have
Is
to
that what you...
interpret.
Okay. Well, we're both going to interpret.
Okay.
I'm excited. How many are you going to pull?
Should I pull 4? 3.
3.
7.
Let's do 3, because everyone's been doing 3. Also, we're limited on time.
Okay, 3 it is for the girls. Okay, I'm going to pull from here.
Wow.
She always does that. She
okay.
Has that reaction.
Okay, we've got Sprout.
She's growing from dirt.
Door.
The door is opening.
And Mother.
She will finally be mothered. I don't interpret it as I'm the mother.
If y'all didn't know that Brittany was Mother, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm tired of mothering, actually. I've mothered my entire life. I would love to be mothered.
Also, something that should be known is that Brittany is an influencer. She is that girl.
I mean.
Which I wanted to talk about more, but unfortunately we don't have that much time. But Brittany is an influencer. She's not just an influencer, but
I'm not a good influencer. I have no followers.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Followers don't matter. Vibes matter.
Vibes, yes.
Vibes matter. Yes. And also, you were a host on QVC.
Yes, I auditioned at QVC. And I've never been happier than when I was in the QVC building. I'm just waiting. I got in. I'm waiting to be matched with a brand.
Period.
Call me.
Period.
Yeah. I do. Like, I'm just so happy around humans. I get my energy with humans, not by myself.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think these cards say?
I start crying.
It's really okay. Tears are okay.
Sprout. I mean, she's growing. A door's opening. This card, I don't know. The Mother card is stumping me. Unless I'm finally going to be cared for, which is my dream.
Damn. That's real.
So sad. But it is real to me. I'd like to stop giving. I would like to take. Yeah.
That's real.
That's how how do you interpret it?
There's so many different ways to look at this, and I very much align with what you're saying. It's like something's growing, something's beginning. There is a path where I feel like it's an opportunity, or there's something that you've wanted. Also, I'm not going to lie, as soon as I saw this mother, I really thought like mother, like she is mother, as in like she is queen. She is, you know how people say Gaga's mother?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I saw when you pulled this card. And
I like that.
I also feel like you are mother. And I really feel like I'm really glad that you're doing this podcast episode with me, because I have believed for a very long time that you not only deserve the spotlight, but you need the spotlight. I feel like everyone that I've been interviewing is like meant to be like on a platform telling their truth.
Yeah.
And you're so good at it because you're such a real one and you have such good presence and you're just that girl, like, period. But there's something that I know that you've wanted for a while now, and I think we're both on the same path with that. Like, there's two things that we really want, and it's like we want to have our moment of performance and we want to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think that this is just the beginning steps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the opportunity is there.
Yeah.
I believe that it's been there. I think honestly the both of us have just been trying to figure out which way to get there.
And I think also as women, it's hard because it's not always safe for women to be in the spotlight. And I think that has intimidated us.
Yeah.
It's definitely intimidated me. It's like, it's scary. It's like people in my DMs all the time, or like people fighting me over something I wrote 10 years ago. It's like people are just so wild that it can be scary to put yourself out there. So it's like, I think our biggest work now is getting over that, and then we'll be free to like go through the door and be mother.
It's really tough. And that's
hard.
That's what it's about, is because you already are mother.
Yeah.
You literally already are. And there's something that's here on a platter for you. This is what I feel and believe wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But it really is just that moment of, okay, you have to get up and blindly walk through this door.
Yeah.
Blindly.
And fearlessly.
Fearlessly.
And it's so weird because I've been fearless forever. Like that's like the number one way I describe myself, like going to Syracuse without knowing anything about it. But it's like this is like next level. Being seen in today's world on a big scale is like next level intimidating, because everyone is like mad at something you did, or you said one sentence in a weird way and the whole internet's debating about it. It's just like, to learn how to block that noise for the greater good of your purpose is, I think, our biggest challenge for the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when my therapist talks to me, she's like, okay, so when you're famous, like, she talks to me like that. Yeah.
Really?
It's like, yes.
Period.
It's insane. I know. And I'm just like, yeah, we're ready.
You already know. See, this is what I'm saying. You
She
already
knows.
know that you're mother. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Brittany. Well, thanks so much for being on the pod.
This is the best day of my life.
Oh my God, I'm so honored. You have no idea.
I-
And we're going to do this again. This is
Good.
You get another episode. because-
Good. I need one like immediately after this one, and once a week.
Say less.
It's so fun to just like gab
Yeah.
and do something creative.
I agree.
With a creative queen. Celine, thanks.
Brittany. Thanks, Britt.
Thanks, Celine.
Riding around the city with some brand new heat. Brand new car, brand new feet.
Mixtrap.com.
Brand new seats.